Hi, I'm Josh. Welcome back to my channel. Today I'm going to be doing my February book haul as well as a bit of an unhaul. My book haul is a little bit smaller than last month, as expected. As I said last month, I'm not buying any new books to add to my TBR, so my incoming books are smaller. That said, as I get fewer books coming in, my urge to buy books kind of increases, so I have bought a couple that I already read, and I think I'm going to keep doing that throughout the year to keep my urge of needing to buy a book every so often satiated. Let's start with the ones that I've read, and that's going to first be Ralph Ellison's Invisible Man, and this is a Penguin's classic, modern classic edition, and I really like this. I like the picture. It's very simplistic and also very smooth cover. I read this in high school, but it wasn't for high school. What I said here was wrong, so I need to correct myself. I thought I read this, but I said that it was in a public domain when I remember reading it back in high school, and I just checked and it's not in a public domain, so I'm not sure if this was what I thought I read, and now I'm panicking because I'm not sure if it's the book I thought it was. I read it like 10 years ago, 11 years ago, so I don't know. Next is Quantum by Manjit Kumar, and this is the battle between Einstein, Bohr, and the great debate about reality. And I remember nothing about this. If I remember last year I talked about, or I've always been talking about it since my channel started, Something Deeply Hidden by Sean Carroll is this one here, and about the quantum multiverse theory. And I didn't really understand it before Sean Carroll's book. That includes reading this one I didn't quite understand. I remember there was a battle between Einstein and Bohr. I probably could bear rereading this. It was like, over 5 years ago when I read this. I want to say 2014, which would be like 7 years ago, jeez. But at the time, I think I enjoyed it well enough. But yeah, it's a nonfiction book about their battle, and I wonder if I would enjoy it more now that I have a better appreciation for quantum mechanics. But I think I will wait till I have a bit more understanding, because there are a few other books about quantum mechanics that I want to read. Now moving on to new books that I bought last year that are finally coming in. We have Black Sun by Rebecca Roanhorse, and this is a fantasy novel of some sort. I'm pretty sure many people have talked about this. If you've heard about it, you've heard about it. If not, all I know about it is it's an indigenous black author writing about a sort of a fantasy story. I'm not sure if it's epic fantasy or not. Actually, I think it is epic fantasy, but I've heard amazing things, so I'm actually really excited to get to this one. Next is Remembrance by Rita Woods, and this one I heard about from Jesse from Bowties and Books, and I've heard great things about this. I think it's magical realism or fantasy that deals with issues of race. Voodoo kept her safe, now it must destroy her. So like that, I guess gives us an idea of what it's about, and I love the genre that we're dealing with here and how I imagine it'll be used to address various issues. So I'm really intrigued by this one. In fact, Erica from Broken Spine, as well as the others that she's been reading with from the unnamed group of readers every couple months, are reading this one next. They just read Minion by L.A. Banks, and so I'm reading this pair for their discussion, which I imagine will be in a couple months. So next, I finally got an issue of Lord of the Flies by William Golding, and I've heard pretty good things about this. Like, I've always been a big fan of Stephen King, at least I was growing up, and I like his general style approach to horror, and this was a big influence for him, so I wanted to finally read it. I've also heard great things regardless of Stephen King. Now, I was disappointed because this did not say when I ordered it from Thrift Books that it would have writing on it, and there was writing on the cover. I don't know if you see it, but like I get what was it? What do you call it? That stuff that's desanitizing? Alcohol, rubbing alcohol, and I rubbed it and I scraped off the mark. It was like one of those fancy glitter markers that be like a smear of paint, and I scraped it off. There's still like a pin underneath it that I could see. I won't give the first name. Like that little type of pin, kind of annoyed. But now I managed to clean it off well enough from the cover, so you can barely even notice. Otherwise, it's a fine copy, I suppose. And Lord of the Flies is about, it's a classic. You know what it's about? I don't know. You should know this by now. I mean, I don't know it by now. Boys killing themselves? That's my guesstimation of what it's about. Okay, Riot Baby by Tochi Onyebuchi. And I've heard amazing things about this. It's me wanting to buy it. This is one of those books that I rushed to buy when I realized I wasn't going to let myself buy anything else this year. And I bought it at the end of last year because I knew I wanted it on hand, because I knew the urge would come that I'd have to read it this year at some point. This is a sort of a dystopian, but also not dystopian. I want to say fantastical, some type of speculative type of fiction that deals with a certain riot. I think that rolls on race, and I think it's just using a speculative approach to very real world problems or issues that have come up. And that's the extent of my knowledge. I've heard more about it, but I tend to forget things, and I'm okay with that going into a book. Like, I want to know enough to get interested, and then I'll let myself sort of just lose that information as I prepare to read it. So it's like a brand new experience. Now, moving on to my unhaul. I normally don't do unhauls, and I've been resistant to the idea, but my TBR is huge, which I'm sure you would have noticed if you saw my bookshelf organizing video. And I realized that there are so many books that I really want to read, and there are books that I want to read, and there are books that are like, why did I buy this? Like, why am I going to make myself read this just because I bought it? And I realized it's first off, it's not going to happen. It's going to sit there for years, and it's just unnecessary. And if I end up doing it, it's like, why am I reading this over that one? Like, what is the reason I have these on my shelves besides the fact that I just bought them? Some of them I have like actual intriguement. I mean, actually intrigued, even if I'm nervous about it for various reasons. But some of these, it's like, I bought this because it was cheap, and I have no interest in this anymore. Now, this isn't one of those. This is one I bought when I was dating someone who wanted to read erotica together, and it was Anne Rice's The Claiming of Sleeping Beauty. I did not read much of this because we broke up soon after, I think. But I'm not really interested in reading this, and I don't know. I think I bought this because they wanted to read erotica, and I knew Anne Rice's writing at least a while back, and so I kind of liked it. Like, not for erotica, but like just in general. But now, like, I have no reason for it. I don't want to read it. A Dollhouse and Other Plays by Henrik Ibsen. And I bought this because I wanted a copy of Doll's House, which I really like, by the way. I'm a big fan of that play. I read it in high school. And I already have another copy of A Doll's House, and these other plays in here I don't plan on reading, so I'm just going to get rid of this copy that I got from Goodwill. Okay, this is one that I have conflicting feelings about because I don't expect to like it. And honestly, there are better books I could read. I have a whole stack of Lovecraftian books set aside that I could read, that I want to read. Yet I am thinking about reading this, or have been thinking about reading this, because of a few things. One, I like the cover. Like, I bought the first book, which was Lovecraft. What was it called? Carter and Lovecraft. This is a Lovecraftian story, but also sort of an investigative story where they're trying to hunt down something. I don't remember. It's just like a Lovecraftian story, and that's what drew me to it. But honestly, I bought the first one because I saw this one first. I love the cover, the sort of skull-like artistic take, and the title, and it was Lovecraftian, so I bought it. But then I just ended up not liking the writing. I didn't think the story was particularly special. The best part about it was that it was Lovecraftian, but there were other Lovecraftian shit out there that give me good writing and good storytelling. And it's also because it just revolves around these like two people who are sort of doing an investigation. I'm not a big fan of detective approaches to stories, and it just isn't working. And I did not love the first one. I think I gave it 3 stars, but honestly, in retrospect, probably more like 2 or 2.5 stars. And the only reason I'll be reading this is 1, because I bought it. 2, I want to conclude the series, and that matters to me. 3, like, it's not that long. I could do it pretty quickly, and the writing's simple enough that I could listen to it really quick. But that's like a day or two of my time that would be wasting on this book when I have so many other books that I need to read. That's the big reason why I'm saying, Josh, you gotta let go. Let it go, let it go. Let go, Josh, let go. This next one I know zero about. Gun Island by Imitov Gosh. And this was one that was sent to me when I was ordering from Book Outlet. I think it was one of my last orders. And because it was a big order, they ended up putting in extra stuff that I did not order. And I figured, great, I have an extra book. But granted, maybe I should have Googled it. Maybe I had before, but in his hometown, Kolkata, where Dr. Dean Dada meets by chance. I don't want to. See, I don't even care about the description. I didn't want this book, and I'm not going to keep a book just because I have it. I'm going to get rid of it. I'm not going to burn it, but I don't want it. Someone else can read it. I think that was like an extreme pivot to say I'm not going to burn it. Just what it feels like when I'm getting rid of a book. It's like the equivalent of burning to me. Like, I hate the feeling of doing that. And then next is a book that I bought when I was on my Book Outlet crave and buying a bunch of YA books that were on sale that seemed moderately interesting, and now like it doesn't even seem interesting to me anymore, and that is Sorcery of the Thorns by Margaret Rogerson. And this is a fantastical story that I think might include fairies. I'm not sure. I know it has like magical libraries where the book comes alive, and I have read a book similar to that, which was The Library of the Unwritten. Oh, it's up there. I would show you otherwise, but I don't want to stand up. And it reminds me of this one, but I also didn't like that one very much. It wasn't the premise. The premise is cool as hell, but I've also heard the writing of this is very YA. It's very meant for young adults, and I have struggled with the general YA as it is, and I don't think this would be a difficult read, but it would definitely be time consuming. And like, would it be worth it? No, it wouldn't be worth it. I feel confident this would not be worth my time. I spent like $10 on it, so what? I'll get rid of it. And those were the books that I've unhauled and the books that I am hauling. Hopefully, over the next coming months, I will have more books to unhaul as I deal with this sensation of having too many books, and books that I clearly do not have that much interest in. For now, I hope you enjoyed this. Let me know if you've read any of these or if you want to. And as always, have a great day and stay safe. Goodbye, everyone.